2, 1.
Good afternoon and welcome to a joint budget decision session involving myself as Executive Member for Economy and Strategic Planning, Councillor de Gorn as Executive Member for Transport, and Councillor Widdowson as Executive Member for Environment and Climate Change. So just going through the agenda, item 1, declarations of interest that are not already on the register of interests. Can I just have confirmation? I don't have anything to declare that isn't already on the register. I'd be grateful for a verbal confirmation from Councillor Widdowson.
I have no declarations other than that on the register. Okay,
and Councillor de Gorn.
I have no additional.
Thank you very much for that. Just wanted to clarify that for the public. Second item is public participation. I'm informed that there aren't any members of the public or members of council registered to speak. So that then brings us on to item 3. And Debbie Mitchell is going to kick off the financial strategy item. Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you, Chair. So this report provides background information for the overall financial strategy and presents you with draft proposals for savings, growth and capital for the 3 portfolios that are being represented here today. The proposals have again been prepared in the context of the ongoing impact of the coronavirus pandemic, and that impact predominantly being the continued financial challenge and an uncertain economic outlook. So the council continues to face an unprecedented financial challenge, and this has generated an in-year pressure that you will be aware of. It's been reported to executive as part of the regular finance and performance monitoring reports. So the details of the individual council funding allocations will not be known until the provisional local government finance settlement is announced, which I've said it every day this week, it's due any time. It should be by the end of this week because Parliament stops for Christmas by the end of this week. So we should get something tomorrow or Friday at the absolute latest. Just to mention that it's at this stage still unclear as to whether we will get a 1-year or a multi-year settlement, and that again further adds to the uncertainty and makes our medium-term financial planning that little bit more complex. And so the purpose of mentioning that is just to make the point that the overall strategy may need to change from what is presented here depending on the outcome of the provisional settlement. So we won't know that at this stage. And then just to mention the key assumptions that underpin the budget, the overall council budget are a proposed council tax increase of 1.99% plus a further 1% ring fence to adult social care. We've identified pressures totaling some £12 million, and then added to the council tax that leaves a budget gap of just over £7 million that we've had to be found from identifying budget savings. As in last year's budget setting process, the key requirement again has been to try and maintain that stable financial position whilst at the same time dealing with the ongoing and increasing pressures being seen in both adults and children's social care. And again, you will all be aware that this that's a national issue, and it's certainly not something that's unique to York. So the annexes to the report outline the detailed proposals for these portfolios and also include a summary of the consultation responses that have been received today at the point we'll publish the report, and you've been asked to consider these proposals in the context of the overall council budget. And I'll leave it at that.
Thank you very much. Right, just going through the areas in detail. Councillor Widdowson, do you want to kick off for your patch?
Yeah, I'll just very briefly discuss my area. As Debbie has rightly said, this has been a continuation of an extremely difficult situation. We're now over 20 months in to the virus changing, things happening, things not happening, and certainly in my area, which is the residents will predominantly see it as waste collection, recycling, and public realm. We have had large changes across the piece to do with people who can turn up, who can't turn up, with what the COVID rules is, what the COVID rules are not. And I'm just delighted to be able to say that this administration has continued to support this area, so that not only have we managed to make all the collections and do all the work that is necessary, but we have supported them in ensuring that the green bin collection is now gone from 36 weeks to 40, that we are redoing the routes for next year with new vehicles, so we'll be lower emissions and more efficient, and that the residents have been superbly supportive through all the changes that have gone on in this area. So many thanks to the teams that are behind this, including the finance team, that have managed the situation extremely well.
Thank you very much. Councillor de Gorn?
Yes, I would also like to echo the thanks to the staff in the council. Many of the frontline staff have gone way above and beyond the normal course of duty to try and respond to the very rapidly changing situation that they face in trying to maintain essential council services. And as has been said already, despite the challenging budget situation which faces us and other councils, coupled with the impact of COVID on our operations and the communities, that we continue to plan this vital support for essential services and support the health and care of our most vulnerable residents. So the highway maintenance is one of the areas that place continued demand on scarce resource. We do have a newly adopted HIAMP, which is jargon for a Highways Infrastructure Management Plan, which gives us more clarity on how to maximise the cost effectiveness of our £8.3 million spend to prevent any further deterioration whilst keeping people safe on our roads, streets and cycleways. And as also note, as it's set out in paragraph 64, highlights the fact that the majority of our spending now in transport is dependent on external funding for infrastructure, and that includes the work which is ongoing in terms of design, preparing for increased capacity on the Outer Ring Road, remodelling the station frontage, and implementing new cycling and walking enhancements which are being funded through the Active Travel Fund. So in the coming year, the carbon reduction strategy will help to set out a clear pathway for decarbonising transport along the lines which will be set out in our new local transport plan, building on the broad principles already established through LTP3. And as indicated in the report, we have also submitted a bus service improvement plan, which again, we are waiting to hear the announcements from the government about the funding that will be drawn down from that in the near future to support our post-COVID transport plans to promote public transport. So I very much welcome the report, and I'm sure if there are any other particular points that the officers want to highlight, then they can do that.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor de Gorn. I'll just cover my area and then invite Patrick Looker to comment if there's anything that needs to be covered. I appreciate the amount of effort that's gone into keeping the planning application process running throughout the last 20 months and changes on a regular basis to what can take place, but the importance is to keep the economy running and ensure that the applications are processed and that construction can continue. And there's a lot of work in there. I appreciate the efforts that have gone into ensuring that money provided by government for the council to distribute to local businesses, that has been done very efficiently, very effectively, with controls, and that has ensured that we qualified as a council for an additional £1.4 million in additional restrictions grants, which we are in the process of distributing between now and the end of March. Clearly, ensuring that existing businesses are able to keep running is one of the most effective ways of maintaining our high levels of employment in the city and encouraging new growth. There's been a lot of opportunity for businesses to take stock about how they go forward, and there's been the My City Centre proposal consultation throughout this, which is feeding into the changes there. And of course, there's the local plan, which we look forward to the inspection process early next year, which is it's been a long time coming, but will deliver certainty in terms of land allocation within the city. So I appreciate the work that's gone into this budget. So Debbie, thank you, and Patrick, thank you to you and your teams to be able to have these sessions so early. Has been an ambition for this administration, and therefore it does create some burdens, but it also ensures a clearer and more transparent process. So we look forward to the contributions at Budget Council. So I think with the tabled growth items and savings from the various appendices, Patrick, was there anything that you wanted to draw to our attention in terms of requirements?
Well, all I'd say is that the vast majority of budgets across your portfolios will remain broadly the same. The growth and savings that are done as part of this budget process, sort of to some extent, are at the margins. The Annex 1 gives you the detailed individual savings across your 3 portfolios. The vast majority of them are due to price increases across, for example, our parking car park assets, some reductions in costs on concessionary fares that we're identifying at the moment. Annex 2 provides detail of the additional funds that will be coming through in terms of the pay awards for staff, and also some contractual price increases. There's also additional investment in for the continuation of the local transport plan delivery. And Annex 4 highlights the additional funds that will be coming through for the capital programme across, again, your portfolios. A lot of that is in future years, but probably the one I would highlight as the big item that's going forward is the support that the administration are putting in for Haxby Station.
Thank you for that. So members, we're asked to agree the recommendations in paragraph 19 on page 8. Can I just have your indications that you are in support of that so we can go forward? Right, so all 3 of us have agreed that. That covers that item, which brings us on to item 4, urgent business. There's none that have been reported to me. So unless there is anything else that we need to do as part of the budget process, just checking, Debbie, before I bring the meeting to a close. Right, that's fine. Thank you for that. And thank you for attendance.